Hi everyone, Sneemaster here with a review of the new MISC Starlancer Max variant. The Starlancer series is a larger upscaled version of the MISC Freelancer series, designed for larger crews, long-range travel, and more cargo, with variants for different functions. The Max variant is a dedicated cargo-carrying ship and was released flyable in the 3.24.3 PTU patch. The patch has been flaky and slow-going, but I finally got this video made after testing the ship thoroughly. There is a future tech combat variant and a base building BLD variant, which I'll cover in separate videos. The Starlancer Max is 83 meters long, 52 meters wide, and 16 meters high. They are longer than ships like the RSI Constellation series, Mercury Starrunner, or Drake Corsair, but shorter than the Crusader Hercules Starfarer or Caterpillar ships. They are tall ships though, much like the Hercules or Starfarer. The Starlancer Max variant is designed for a crew of 4, 1 pilot, a co-pilot, an engineer, and a gunner. The Starlancer Max has 2 floors, with the upper floor for the bridge, living quarters, and engineering, and the bottom floor for cargo, docking, and egress. The Starlancer Max has a bridge in the front of the second floor, similar in style to a Starfarer bridge, but slightly smaller. The pilot and co-pilot seats are in the front, side by side, with a long, wide windshield. The dashboard in front is so large you could fit a person in there, or lots of bobblehead decorations. The remote turret controls are in the back of the bridge in a section split off from the pilot and co-pilot with their own seats. There are 2 windows above the remote turret seats that have armored shutters that can be closed for extra defense. Behind the bridge is an escape pod room with access to 4 escape pods. The escape pods don't function yet, but they will be useful if the crew is close enough to them if something bad happens. Further behind this room is an elevator room. This room has an elevator to move between the 2 floors as well as exit the ship down to the ground on the starboard side. There is also a ladder here leading to the airlock section below with an airlock hatch to keep air from escaping. Behind this room, in the Max, is a mess hall with a kitchen, bar, eating area, and pool table. It's a pretty open and relaxed area compared to many other ships. There are 2 thin skylight windows up top to see the sky. The skylight windows are located on each side of the fore turret. Sadly, nothing works in this mess hall right now. The kitchen gadgets don't do anything, and the pool table is missing the pool cue and the balls. Only the table and seats work right now. Further aft of this section is a living area with 4 individual bedrooms and bathrooms. Each room has their own double bed with a personal storage and bathroom. The rooms are very comfortable, like the living quarters of a sleeper train. The storage in each room has capacity for 650k micro SCU, plus there's a mini fridge to store some drinks or small food. I couldn't figure out how to dim the lights in the room yet, but I assume there's a way to do it when sleeping. The 2 rearward cabins have a little extra space with some shelves to store small boxes. I wonder if those rooms are for the pilot and co-pilot? In this same section are 2 elevators that go between this floor and the lower floor where the rear cargo bay is. Aft of this living area is an engineering area with component access for quantum drive, coolant, power, and other systems. It doesn't do much right now, but it has fuse boxes for repairs, and users can manually replace components on their ship if they need to. Going 1 floor down from here is the rear cargo bay that can carry 96 SCU. The cargo is stored in 2 strips on either side of this room. You can store 132 SCU and 116 SCU container on each strip. In the middle of the room is a non-magnetic space large enough to carry an Ursa rover or smaller ground vehicles such as the Tumbril Cyclone, Greycat Rock, and the new Argo CSV SM. You can also just barely fit the Tumbril Storm tank in the cargo bay, but the turret can get stuck, so drive it in very carefully and turn the turret every so often to get it in. Some snub ships can fit here, although the Anvil Pisces is just a little too wide and tall for it. I bet better pilots than me can get it to fit, but I just ended up damaging the Pisces when I tried. The Mirai Fury does fit though. You can even fit about 4 of them if you're careful. And the other snub fighters fit too, but you have to enter very slowly and with landing gear off. You can fit a ton of hover bikes in here too. You can also fit another 64 SCU or more of cargo in this vehicle storage area, but they may bounce around a bit without the cargo grid in the middle. There are also 2 side windows here, but they can get covered by the cargo. The 2 elevators from the living quarters end up here as well. Forward from here, the Max carries an extra cargo bay here with 2 sides that lower down for easy loading. Each side section of this bay holds 64 SCU each for a total of 128 SCU. Because these are long open sections that load from the sides, you can easily get 4 32 SCU containers here. You can also fit some of the small ground and hover vehicles in these 2 cargo strips. There is a catwalk in the middle to walk across this cargo section even when the cargo bays are lowered, but it will be exposed to the environment if the doors are open, so make sure your helmet is on your head when walking through here. Total cargo on the MAX is 224 SCU between the rear and middle sections, although you can unofficially fit more cargo in the rear section, 64 SCU or more, so nearly a total of 300 SCU with everything filled up. That's not bad and is halfway between a Taurus and Caterpillar for storage, but with space for 32 SCU containers easily. The MAX has a room in front of this middle cargo bay with an airlock and docking port. The ladder to the second floor goes up from here. In front of the airlock is an armory and suit lockers. There is a gun storage with space for 4 large guns or devices and 6 small ones. There are 4 suit lockers with the magnetic suit connectors to keep them in place. They don't function yet, but they will work in the future. The MAX variant comes with 1 large shield generator. For an 80-meter long ship, the single shield generator on the MAX is a little weak compared to ships like the Caterpillar that have 3 large shields, or Hercules ships with 2. The ship also has slightly less hull strength than ships like the Caterpillar or even the Corsair, but it's still a tough ship. Hopefully CIG will add armor to the ship once armor is released to make up for this. The MAX has 2 medium power plants, which also seems a little small for such a large ship. The MAX has a size 2 quantum drive and jump drive, which is not very large or fast for such a big ship, but is still decently fast and quite efficient. The MAX has 2 size 2 hydrogen fuel tanks and 2 size 2 quantum fuel tanks. Again, these are smaller engines and fuel tanks than larger ships like the Caterpillar have, so it makes me wonder how long range these ships will be. But 2 size 2 quantum fuel tanks for a size 2 quantum drive should fly pretty far. The MSR and Corsair also have size 2 quantum drives, but less quantum fuel than the MAX does. The Starlancer MAX has 3 main thrusters and 6 VTOL engines to help lift the extra cargo weight, more than the other Starlancer variants. It does have a slightly sluggish SCM speed of 115 meters a second. This is a pretty slow SCM speed for ships, and the MAX will struggle to escape from enemy ships like this. To give you a comparison, the Hercules Starlifter, which is bigger, carries more cargo and is a little longer, but can fly at 160 meters a second for SCM speed. And even the Caterpillar, which has always been slow, is faster at 130 meters a second for SCM speed. The Starlancer just barely beats the old Starfarer in SCM speed by just a little bit, so the Starlancers are sluggish ships in regular flight. Now the nav speed, though, is not too shabby for a big ship. Those same ships like the Hercules or Caterpillars are the same nav speed or worse than the Starlancer. With all that, though, the ships are fairly maneuverable for a large ship. You won't fly circles around other ships, but you can dodge somewhat and turn to hit targets. Just watch your momentum. With a big ship like this, it can take a while to speed up or slow down. For weaponry, the MAX has dual size 4 gimbal turrets controllable by the pilot on the sides of the nose. These are similar to the Starfarer pilot guns in function and can aim up and down as well as to the sides. You can turn on gimbal mode to help hit moving targets better. If you're going up against faster and smaller ships, you may consider either turning on single fire mode on the guns or else getting repeaters. The guns have small energy capacitors though, so you can't fire very long continuously. Make sure to give them time to recharge or else try out ballistic weapons. The MAX also has 2 remote turrets up top of the ship with dual size 4 guns. One turret covers the front section while the other covers the rear. The turrets only cover the top of the ship though, and the MAX has no lower turret coverage, so this is a big weakness. The MAX does have 2 quad missile launchers under the nose and 2 more on top of the ship, all with size 3 missiles, for a total of 16 size 3 missiles. That's pretty powerful, and a higher amount of large missiles than any large ship we have short of capital ships. You can't change the missile launchers though, so you are stuck with the size 3 missiles. The size 3 missiles on the Starlancers have more of a punch than the size 1 or 2 missiles on smaller ships like the Constellation series or Freelancer MIS though. So make sure to spam missiles at your enemies to make up for the lacking turret coverage on the Starlancers. They will seriously damage enemy fighters quite well if they hit. The Starlancer MAX runs for $250 in store credit or $225 Warbot. It has a silver-gray paint scheme, very much like the Freelancer series. There is a blue and gray sapphire paint exclusive for CitizenCon 2954. There is also a concierge-only tan Mojave paint and a yellow and blue Pacific paint. At any point, backers of any sort can buy the orange and gray Wildcat paint and the white and gray Snowcat paint. The ships have a lot of good points. They are a nice blend between medium and large ships. They have equal or more cargo than the Constellation, with decent shields and a comfortable living space for long-range work, but smaller than 100 meters. They have proper horizontal docking ports and airlocks, plus good entrances for loading cargo or vehicles. Previous large ships were designed for an older cargo system, so loading them with cargo is a real pain, but ships like the Starlancer should make it easier. The Starlancer MAX is useful for various roles. You could use these ships as gunships using the numerous pilot guns and missiles to hit ground targets before landing, although lack of lower turrets does make this a little harder. The nice living quarters plus the ability to store lots of seats in the cargo grids make the MAX pretty good for transporting people, maybe even as a dropship or for tourism. The ability to carry vehicles can help even more for a dropship. transport, or tourism missions. You could also use the MAX as a pocket carrier. You can fit a couple of Furies in the rear cargo bay, plus lots of hover bikes with guns to surprise enemies and take advantage of the MAX's longer range. You could also use the MAX as search and rescue. Just load up an Ursa Rover Medical to act as a medical bed, while the MAX has the long range to reach downed characters and return. You could load Grey Cat rocks to do ground mining or the new Argo CSV variants for cargo loading or base building. You can carry hover bikes and supplies for them for various exploration, racing, or ground missions too. Carrying Ursa Rovers or Tumble Cyclones make these ships pretty good at ground bounty hunting. Use the vehicles to drive out underground facilities or surface locations to track down bounties that the main ship can't reach. Carry the armed Cyclone variants like the AA or MT versions to defend a landing zone. The pilot weapons plus snub ships might also be good to surprise bounty targets in the air or in space that might not be expecting a cargo ship to have such a bite. The MAX would be great for long-range patrols, either for piracy or law enforcement. Use the guns to disable the engines and power plant, and then board the ship from the docking port. The dedicated airlock sections make sure the rest of the ship doesn't lose atmosphere while you're out doing shenanigans. Pirates or law enforcement would love the ship, especially if you combine the long-range fuel tanks and comfortable quarters. The Starlancer MAX would also be great as blockade runners. They have a lot of front-firing weaponry and decent shields to break open holes in blockades, and the turrets up top can still shoot at ships on the sides and behind as you go. They can carry enough cargo to make it worth breaking blockades with. On top of these advantages, I personally enjoy the visual design of the Starlancer MAX. It blends the look of Freelancers and Starfarers. The rounded edges of the ship make a nice contrast to more angular ships like the RSI or Crusader ships. Very reminiscent of the old 70s spaceship books. The windows on the sides of the ship and skylight are a nice touch and will help players see the amazing vistas outside while traveling. Now, there are some disadvantages to the ships. There are weak spots under the ship that are not protected by turrets, so you'll have to be careful flying in dangerous space. You should try to roll the ship often to cover that lower section with turrets and equalize the shield damage. If you need lower turret coverage, then the TAC variant might be better for you. The other issue with turrets is the front one is limited to only a forward arc and the rear one only has a rearward arc. Sure, they can aim 90 degrees to each side or more, but it seems artificially restricted that a single turret can't cover the entire top of the ship. You can at least fire both turrets to the sides of the ship at the same time though, so broadside attacks can work pretty well for the Starlancer MAX. You can attack ships to your sides while you're still moving, so that can help in rolling attacks, especially with blockade running. A second issue is the shields are a bit weak for a large ship. The shields should be increased a bit, but hopefully armor will cover that issue later. Another problem is the rear cargo bay is not easy for snub ships to fit in. You can fit them in, but you have to fly them in slowly and carefully, otherwise they'll hit the tops or sides of the cargo bay. If there was space in the middle cargo bay to carry them, then that might be easier, but is a bit tight for snubs. Only hover bikes fit safely. The slow speed of these ships will also make it more difficult for these ships to escape combat or to chase down enemy ships. MISC ships are many things, but they are not fast. This only applies to SCM speed though. In nav mode or quantum travel, they are comparable to the MSR or Corsair. They will probably use less fuel, fly farther, and be cheaper to run than equivalent ships, but don't expect quick journeys outside of nav mode. With the low speed, weaker shielding, and exposed area below the ship, both variants are at a disadvantage in combat. You could hire players to fly snub ships, or have long-range escort ships defend you, or you could join convoys, all of which may cost you money, but are safer if cargo space is at a premium. Another major drawback is there are no tractor beams to pick up cargo or salvage, so you'll need to carry an MPU V1T snub ship or an ATLS mech, or have the large handheld tractor beam to move cargo. Carrying these tractor vehicles will take up cargo space that you could be using for actual cargo. Loading operations will take longer because of this, and you'll have less cargo space because of the vehicles. Finally, while you can theoretically fly the ship solo, especially with all the pilot guns and missiles, you will have a big exposed area behind the ship, both top and bottom, so it's recommended you bring a crew to run the turrets to at least cover the top, sides, and back of the ship, especially with the low SCM speed. So in the end, you should decide what you need in a ship before buying these. Do you need long range, decent cargo, with comfortable quarters, and able to carry an Ursa rover? Then the Starlancer MAX might be great for you. It's a middle-of-the-way cargo ship in between the very large ships like the Hercules and Caterpillar, and the smaller medium-sized cargo ships. The Starlancer MAX simply provides more options for players, and I like that. The addition of the combat-based TAC and BLD-based builder variants will give even more features in the future. Honestly, I think the Starlancer MAX is what the 4-person Freelancer should have been from the beginning. The actual Freelancer steers should be 2-person short-range ships. Now that CIG has an idea of the final mechanics for the game, they should rework a lot of the older ships to match the new realities. Alright, so that's it for the Starlancer Max review. I'll make videos on the tech and BLD variants in the near future. Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. You can use my referral code if you decide to jump into Star Citizen, and you get 5,000 extra in-game credits. Here's a big thank you to my current patrons. Please check out my Patreon membership to help me make more videos. All patrons and members will have the names listed at the end of my videos and get access to my Discord channel. So feel free to sign up and let me know what you'd like to see next. Okay, catch you all next time.